When I was asked what kind of show I wanted to make, I knew I wanted to create a space where people would come together. I want for everyone who tunes into the show to feel like they're a part of the conversation, which is why I leave it all up to them. I'm not even in charge of the questions. I let the community decide where the conversation goes and what they want to learn, and I'm just here along for the ride. So if this sounds like your type of space, all I can say is welcome.
Okay, that's fine because it's like we're surviving. Really, that's like half of parenting is just surviving, and then the other half is napping and sleeping. So basically, it's all survival.
You're listening to a show for those who aren't afraid to admit that they don't know what the hell is going on. This is a safe space to ask any question you may have in order to keep learning and growing every day. Because the truth is, there's no way to know everything. So join me as I talk to people who know a little something about life. But there's a catch. I'll also know nothing about the questions I'm going to ask. Just like in school when there was a suggestion box that the teacher would read out loud, I'll be pulling up the questions without ever seeing them beforehand. Let's just say this should get very interesting. This is, trust me, I know nothing. Wait, what? Hey guys, thank you so much for tuning into the show. On this episode, we're talking about parenting. Lately, I've been wondering if I want to become a father or not, so I just figured I would ask people with kids for some advice. I decided to talk to my friends Kelly Belliston and Mr. Domestic because I felt like they would be completely honest with me. Kelly is a mom of twins and they are 2 years old, so she's right in the middle of it. And she's been documenting her whole journey on her Instagram page, and I just love how she is as a mom. And Mr. Domestic has an 8-year-old daughter, so he's learned a few useful tips along the way. And I just love how he's unapologetically himself and he's not afraid to show his ups and downs with his followers, as well as some amazing DIY tips. So, talking to them really opened my eyes to some truths about parenting, and it was such a great conversation. I really enjoyed it, and I hope you enjoy it as much as I did. So, here we go. Hey guys, how are you today?
Good.
Awesome! Woo! It's a party.
Yeah, I'm so excited. This is the first episode of the show, and I had to bring on a few of my favorite people on the internet to talk about kids. Because I've been starting to date a lot right now that the pandemic is like easing a little bit. So I'm going out on dates, and one of the biggest questions I get is, do you want kids? The truth is, I don't know if I want kids. So I figured I can ask people who have kids a few things and see if like I said, this will either convince me to have kids or just scare me off and I won't have any kids and you're going to have to deal with my mom. So here we go. Are you ready for the first question, guys? The first question we got, are you disgusted by any of your kids' fluids?
Before I would thought I would be, but no, not at all. Like no, I feel like I've gotten so desensitized from from poop to like I'm just like, just clean it. I'll eat after them. They slobber. I don't care.
Really?
Right. That's how it is for me. I was shocked. Like, because prior to having a kid, the concept of like changing a diaper was just gross, but it's like something kicked in to where I didn't care if I got projectile vomit on me or if it was explosive diarrhea or like boogers out the wazoo. I just didn't care because it was my kid.
Oh.
And I was just so grateful that I got to take care of it. Like, it's almost like the instincts kick in, that the grossness, it's like you don't even think about it.
It's like your germs, so it doesn't even matter.
Right. It's like whatever they have, I already have. That's just how it works. So what I just didn't care. That blew my mind because like thinking about other kids,
I can't.
Fluids, no thank you.
Yeah, when you see other kids with like runny noses, you're like, but your kid is like, it's different.
Yeah, my kid is precious. That's like some good fluids. That's a good fluid stuff. So we're good.
We're good there. I don't know. I have a niece, a 3-year-old niece, and when I do get a little disgusted with her fluids, if I'm honest, because I guess because she's not mine. I can't. Okay, so that makes me a little hopeful. Maybe I won't be disgusted with my kids. What's something you want to know about? Okay, well, what's your favorite parenting hack? Something you've learned and you're like, wow, I wish I should have learned that sooner.
I did just learn something and I'm really, really proud of it. And I'm trying to figure out how to turn it into a 15-second TikTok because,
Okay.
that's what we do. But okay, so I'm not a clean human. I'm just not. So my daughter is not a clean human either, and she's 8. So we came up with the idea that I would clean my room and she would clean her room at the same time, and we would FaceTime each other while we were doing it. And we broke it up into 30-minute increments, and we each listened to Blackpink and music. And then after 2 30-minute segments, my daughter came downstairs and was screaming and was like, "Oh my gosh, today was the best day ever. I thought it was going to take 3 hours and it only took 1. Yeah, yeah." And she kept saying it over and over again. And I was like, wow, I came up with something really good there. I wish I would have known that earlier, because I probably could have gotten her to clean her room like when she was 5 and it would be a non-issue now. But I was real proud of myself for that one.
It's amazing.
I think I guess mine would be counting for the boys because they fight over so much stuff. So we do this thing where we count to 20 and they switch their toy, whoever has the toy they want, and they like switch back and forth. And the person who's counting gets so excited to count that they aren't as mad that they don't have the toy at the time. And then when it's 20, they switch back. So that's mine right now because they go at it.
Because how old are your twins?
2.
2. So.
Yeah, they're in yeah. I'm like watching them jumping on their bed right now. Yeah. They have a lot of energy too, and they fight like crazy lately. So
wow.
Yeah, the counting thing has really helped.
So like counting is part of the game.
Yeah, so they count to 20 and whoever has the toy, when we get to 20, they switch and then we start over. But it's a lot of counting. So it gets old for me, but I'm like, as long as we're
well, and they'll probably be good at math. So
exactly.
Win-win.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, next question. One thing you wish you knew about parenting before doing it.
I didn't know I was gonna have twins, so I wish I would have known that was gonna be a possibility. Because
wow, that's a surprise.
Yeah, we did not expect that. That was probably having 2 kids at once was like a lot, but yeah, I wish I would have known what to expect.
I love that.
For me, it was, I wish that I would have known how capable I would have been as a parent before I became one. Because I was so like, we took all the classes, read all the things, like even took lactation classes, and like it's a same-sex marriage, so we didn't need it personally.
Yeah.
But like everything just happened, and like I don't remember the first year at all, honestly. It was a whirlwind. She survived it, we all survived it, but just something happens that no one can really describe until you go through it. That, wow, I'm like, okay, I messed up there, I won't do that again. Oh yeah, yay. And it's a lot of that. Basically, your children are one big experiment based on your own like experiences. Yeah. And that's, I wish I would have known that it's basically just pulling from everything I already know, and I knew it, and not to freak out.
And I think like knowing that they are not easy to break. They're actually pretty resilient. Like surprisingly resilient. Because you get so terrified, but like sometimes I might fall off the bed.
Yeah, I dropped my niece when she was only 1 year old, and I dropped her on her head. And to this day, I'm like, whenever she falls or anything, like it was my fault. I dropped her. So
you're like, now she's messed up her life.
Yeah, I messed her up, but what are we gonna do about it?
Like they're pretty resilient. Like they get their bumps, but like they bounce back easy.
Yeah, they do. That's amazing with kids. Okay, what's the craziest thing your kid has ever said? Something that like shocked you.
It's less about a specific topic and more about how much of a sponge children are for language. Like there will be times when she says phrases and I'm like, where did you get that from? Or she'll use like a polysyllabic word or something. And I'm like, I just learned that word yesterday. How are you saying that in your 8? Just they remember everything, and they you might not realize at the time that they're listening, but 3 years later it's going to pop out of their mouth. So that was shocking to me, because I just assumed like it was a pass, like, oh, she's not going to remember anything. It's okay. Thankfully I don't cuss a lot, but that was shocking. That was shocking to me, and it's still shocking, the way that she's able to communicate and the words she says and what she remembers.
Yeah, something tells me Kelly does curse a lot. She made a face.
I do. Like my husband, I swear, like we always say, like he has like, especially like road rage, when you're, like driving. But they're so little right now, so you don't think about it. But I'm like, they're learning. They're 2, so they're gonna pick up words pretty easily now. So I'm like, we've been trying really hard not to like, because we do it even if it's not even out of anger. It's like it just happens. It's like part of the vocabulary sometimes.
Yeah.
So now I'm like, okay, I need to stop doing that. Make sure that I'm watching what I say around them.
Have your kids said anything like that embarrassed you in public?
No, they're like, they have a twin language right now. It's really, I think they're gonna have to see a speech therapist, because they speak to each other in their own little language, and they say a couple words, but they're not really repeating too much what I say, thank God. So I have a little bit more time.
That's so
I know
cool.
it's coming.
That's so cool. I love that they talk to each other. Okay, what's one thing you swore you'd never do and ended up doing it for your kid?
Fast food. Honestly, that's the thing. That like at first we were like, we're in the Pacific Northwest, we have to be extra granola. Everything needs to be organic and natural. And that lasted for like 2 years.
Yeah.
And she ate so many things, and it was great. The first time that she ate a chicken nugget from Wendy's, though, it was over, and like nothing else. And I was just like, whatever, it's easy, it's there. And now it's like we both eat it a lot. And I'm like, wow, okay, that's fine, because it's like we're surviving. Really, that's like half of parenting is just surviving. And then the other half is napping and sleeping. So basically it's all survival. So that was shocking to me, because we tried so hard in the beginning, and then finally we were like, we can't be perfect. Like she's good. Like the cells in her body are clean. It's okay if we lift them a little bit. But that was the one thing. And we're very conscious of it now. But that's the one thing that we still go back to. Like lotions and stuff, no. But like I had 2 Big Macs yesterday, and that was lovely. So that was it.
All the time. Chicken, fried, anything, McDonald's, Happy Meals. And it's like bad, because I never thought I would do that. I would always like do pureed foods, and before like all organic stuff, and now it's like French fries, pizza sometimes.
And that's okay. That's the thing. There should be no shame in anything, right? Because like if we wanted to like nitpick anyone's parenting, we could find some stuff, right? So it's like, if anyone wants to nitpick mine, I'm gonna be like, here's a mirror, go look and talk to yourself first, and then we can talk again. Because no one's a perfect parent, and if they're pretending to be online, it's not real. So it's like I won't judge a single parent for doing anything other than like, I mean, wearing a mask and like vaccinations and stuff. But like other than that, no, I'm good.
Yeah, no, that's part of why I really wanted to have you both here, because I think that both your profiles are very real about that. The parenting isn't perfection, and like you said, it's half of it is just surviving.
Oh yeah, that should be like the quote. Survival.
Yeah.
Because honestly, I don't. My husband's a truck driver too, so like I'm here alone with them. So I'm like, I'm surviving.
That's it. It's one big survival show with no one getting voted off.
I know.
I love it. Okay, well, see, we're starting with the weird questions. Have your kids ever walked in on you?
No.
They didn't specify doing what, so you can just fill that out yourself.
No, because I can lock my kids in their room. So.
Oh gosh. Okay.
So I have to like right now their door is locked from the outside, so they can't like run down the stairs. So
Yes.
I think they're a little young, but I don't know. Maybe ask me in a few years. I don't know. Maybe you have an 8-year-old, right?
Yeah, there's like it doesn't happen.
Okay.
Like really, I mean, we're older. I identify as asexual. My spouse is demisexual, so as is, it doesn't happen a lot. But
Okay.
the thing that she does walk in on that frustrates me to no end is when I'm filming something and I let her know that I'm filming something in here and I need her not to come in. Then that exactly means 2 minutes later she's gonna knock on my door and want something. That happens all of the time. So it's like walking in on sex, whatever. Walking in on a video, no. That took a lot to get started, so now I got to start over.
Like it's start all over again.
I love it. Okay. Would you say there's a right age to have a kid?
No.
Mm-mm.
I wouldn't.
No, there's not. There's not, and like you're never gonna feel like you're ready. So people who are waiting for the magic time to be ready, it's not gonna happen. Like you're not gonna be like, oh my god, all of my poops together. It's ready. It's time. Like I was later. I was 37 whenever Helena was born. So I know that like I'm gonna be grandpa looking by the time she graduates high school. But I'm moisturized, so I'm doing good so far.
You look amazing.
But there's no. And then Janet Jackson had a kid at 50, so it's like really, it's any moment in your life where your heart is receptive to allowing another creature to come under your wings, then have at it. I personally always wanted to be a dad. I was told I never would be. So when I had the opportunity, I was like, yes. And it's my favorite thing to do. But there's no right or wrong age, really. Even if someone were to get pregnant young and chose to have the baby, no, that's not a wrong age. That's the age that you were gifted with parenting. So I don't think there is a wrong age at all.
I don't either. I think that as long as you're willing to love the baby, then you can be a parent.
Yeah, because that's a question I ask myself a lot because I'm 27 and my mom had me at 27 and I'm her second child. So she already had my sister. So I keep thinking like, okay, maybe it's time, but I'm nowhere near close to feeling ready. But like Matthew said, like maybe I'll never feel ready. So I can just like take the leap. I don't know. I need to find who I'm going to have a kid with first. But, that's just like minor details.
I mean, really?
Yeah.
I mean, all you need to know is, can I afford a crib? Can I afford diapers? Can I afford formula or milk? Okay, good. That's all you need. You don't need all the other stuff for a while. If you can afford that, then you're good.
We're good to start.
You can have a kid.
Gosh. Okay. If things go wrong, I'll blame it on you. I'll be like, Matthew said.
It's cool. Go ahead.
You want to go to school? Matthew didn't include that in the list.
That wasn't on the list.
Not on the
list. Sorry. Okay. How many kids are too many?
I think it just depends on the family.
Okay.
Really. For me, I want to have one more and I'll be after that. I think I don't have the energy. But I think it's just really up to each family. Like I know some people who have like 7 kids and they're fine. And I'm like, I don't know how they do it, but
are they? Sorry, but wow, 7 sounds like a lot.
Yeah, my mom is one of 7, so
wow.
She's like one of 7, and then my husband's one of 5. So
cool.
Yeah, they have big families. I'm like, for me, I'm like 3 tops.
Yeah,
and that's because I had twins first.
Yeah. What about you, Matthew?
Oh my gosh, people are gonna unfollow me. No, honestly, it's like, I don't know, because it's like that's a personal decision for anyone.
Yes, totally.
And if someone had like a dozen kids, I wouldn't like stank eye them or anything. It's like that's their family. They're beautiful. They're all here. But it's like the older I get and the more in tune I am with like we need to protect this planet. There's that global stewardship part, and we're already overpopulated. And I wish more people would consider that. Like the Duggars with 19 kids, maybe that was too many. I don't know, but they're all healthy and alive. So yay for being humans and stuff. But I think that also needs to be a part of it, a part of the the thinking is the impact of more humans on the planet. But that's just what me saying that.
Yes.
I'm
yes.
not going to apply that on someone else's decision making.
Yeah,
I just hope that every parent in that decision will also contemplate that as well.
Exactly.
Whenever they're making those decisions for themselves.
Exactly.
That's a good point, though, because the more people that are on here, the more trees are going to get cut down. The more, So.
Yeah. Okay. What's the hardest age so far? I mean, I know your kids are 2, Kelly, but
2.
2. She's like right now.
Right now. Just because they're climbing on everything and like everything's like dangerous now. I had to just mount my TV last night because I thought I was going to fall off the So it's just right now it's just been hard. But if you would have asked me a year ago, the newborn stage was hard.
Okay.
The constant waking up and not getting any sleep, that was really hard too. So it's just I think the hard stuff changes with every age, and then there's some really easy parts about it too.
Yeah, I think there's no such thing as a hard age. It's just like different aspects of each stage, right?
Yeah, because like the newborn phase, they didn't move at least. So like I don't have to like worry about like the plugs or like the cords or anything. But now it's like that's the issue. But they can also like bring me my shoes or something.
Yeah. My sister says that the only reason she had another kid is like because now she can send them to get her stuff, like, oh, bring me my bag or stuff like that. Like
now they can help a little bit more of it.
Yeah. What about you, Matthew? You have hardest age?
Yeah, Kelly's gonna hate me for this. And I hope I'm not trying to manifest this in your life, but 3. Hands down, it was 3. People always say it's the terrible 2s.
I've heard that so many times.
And honestly, the 2s were fine, but it was the 3, and this is why, because she started to have an opinion.
Yeah.
And she learned no, and that I would have to respect that. But then she didn't have the communication or understanding of language good enough for us to have a dialogue as to why she might not need to say no or have a different opinion or do something different. And that was just a constant source of frustration for me, because it was like, no. Everything became super hard. I love a kid with boundaries, but they were a little bit too many for me. And that was the problem. But once she started to develop her language and ability to communicate, it was a lot easier. And now it's like, I love it. It's amazing.
I think that's going to start happening soon for me. No happening. The no.
Times 2. Like whenever Matthew says something, we're like, okay, yeah, but times 2.
On purpose.
Oh, but well, silver lining, they do grow out of it. So
yeah.
Temporary.
Yeah. Okay, what is the grossest thing your kids have ever done?
Oh.
Something that did test your boundary that you were like, okay, no, that's gross.
They did one time, like I know I'm not really grossed out by the bodily fluids, but he did take out his poop out of his diaper and rub it across the whole crib and walls. And that was just like,
I would have kicked him out. I'm sorry.
It was, you see on the baby monitor in the middle of the night, and you're like, I have to clean that right now.
Yeah.
Like I can't like wait till tomorrow. Like I can't just sleep in it. Like I have to clean it right now. So I'm like, I see it on the monitor. I'm like, ugh. So it just sucks to get up in the middle of the night to clean up poop all over everything. So that was the grossest thing that's happened.
I'm traumatized. Okay. Like I don't know what I would have done. Like I literally would have locked them in there. Like you deal with it. I'm sorry.
Spray some sanitizer.
Yeah. Wow. Okay.
Yeah, that was pretty gross. That was the grossest so far.
Oh gosh. What about you, Matthew? If you have anything.
I have 2 kind of stories. One, since we're already talking about poop, it didn't really gross me out when it happened, but it's funny. And then the other is the grossed out thing.
Okay.
Like Helena hated to poo. Even still, it's like an issue for her. It's like she wants to run away from the bathroom as soon as possible.
Okay.
But she would, instead of pooing, she would stand in the corner and pretend like she wasn't pooing, and she would just clench her butt as much as she could, and then when it just had to come out, it would come out. But as a result, the main time she would poo was when she was in the bath. because she would relax and like
yeah.
it would come out naturally. And one time I walked into the bath and she had two big old logs sitting there right on the edge of the bathtub waiting for me. And I was like, of course I took the documentation for when like she gets married and stuff. So
Yeah.
like, here you go. But I thought that was cute. And it
That's
wasn't gross.
perfect.
The gross thing was she was 3 and it was Halloween and we had a neighborhood party and there was candy everywhere in the garage and she kept sneaking away and I didn't know what she was doing, but basically she ate candy the whole 2 hours. And then when we got home, she projectile vomited over everything for like hours and it never stopped. And we were like, what? We had to clean everything. It got in everything, our hair, our clothes, our carpet. That was a little extreme. So after that, we limited her candy intake, and it was fine. But that went a little far for me when it came to fluids.
there's a limit on the amount.
That's it.
It's not looking good on the family legacy. I'm sorry. I don't think it's going to happen.
It's very rare. These moments are very rare.
Oh gosh.
They're memories now.
Yeah, there's stories on a podcast. Who knows?
Well, yeah, everything's podcast material nowadays. So yeah. Okay. What is the most embarrassing thing your kids have ever done?
Yeah, I don't really get embarrassed, really. Not from the only thing, it's like little things, like if I'm doing a live stream or like if we were sitting and I was getting ready to go present somewhere and then I would toot and she would let everyone know that I tooted. And I was like, girl, you don't need to tell people. I mean, I'm not ashamed when they come out, but she doesn't need to broadcast it to everyone. So that's been an embarrassing through line of our journey together.
Love it. Yeah, well, kids are very honest.
They are.
Okay, true or false? If you drop a kid on its head, it will be fine.
Yes, most likely.
Okay. True. Okay. True or false? Sugar makes kids hyper. That's true, right?
Oh,
They lose their shit when I give sugar.
Yes, it's like what I wish caffeine did to me.
I know. But the crash is hard. Like they crash.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, another true or false. Bribing your kids is a bad idea. Or does it get the job done?
Well, I call that positive reinforcement.
Okay, great. I love that.
I mean, everything's it's a balance, right? So there's a risk of always having to give your kid something to be able to do it. Yeah. So I never really use that as a carrot for her. Usually we have conversations now about why she needs to do something and then she'll do it. And then I let her know that occasionally when she does stuff like that, I'll give her a treat, but I'm not going to let her know when it is.
Okay.
Just that it's going to come. So she doesn't need to do it for the treat. She does it because it's the right thing to do. And then she gets rewarded on occasion for it. I'm just really leery of like her being 16 and not doing her homework because I didn't give her something. Yeah. I know that does happen. So I feel like it's a balance. I try to lean into the positive reinforcement as opposed to like how I was raised, which was like negative reinforcement.
Yeah.
So that's where I lean. But there are so many tools to where honestly, if your kid is screaming and has been screaming for an hour, and the only thing that's going to get your kid to stop is giving them a lollipop, give them the lollipop. Like just do it.
Because matters.
Yeah, the option is going crazy and losing it. Which there are moments whenever I have felt like I'm totally losing my shit in my mind. I need to step away from this and I can't. And I'm like, here's your iPad. Here's some ice cream. There you go. It's fine.
Leave me alone.
From me, I will give it to you at this point because I can't handle it. So the iPad does come in handy a lot for us too.
Yeah, that's one thing I've learned with my niece is I was sort of like the judgy person on the internet. Like, well, I would never let my kid do this, or I would never give my kid an iPad and stuff like that. And once I saw how kids really lose their shit, and the only way to shut them up is to like give them an iPad so you can get on with your day. I was like, I'm done judging. Like, whatever works for you, do it.
Because like I'm telling you, you lose your sanity quick.
Yeah.
It's not worth it. Just
I mean, I don't think I got mine back. I lost
I
it.
so wait.
I love it. Okay, this is more general. What age do you think a kid should get a cell phone nowadays?
Ooh, that's I don't know. Cell phones scare me a little bit now. Social media
Especially
is a little
because you
scary.
guys know what happens in social media. Like, you're both influencers and creators, and you know how dark it gets in there.
Yep.
Yeah.
And we're both influencers that also represent two different oppressed groups, which means that the hate and the bigotry we probably both get is different than like
The general public.
right. For me, I mean, never. I don't know. I'm gonna hold off. She's gonna be the last kid.
Yeah.
Like I came up whenever I was a kid. It was right when the internet was starting.
Yeah.
And I don't want to go into it in this, but I have in other conversations. Some stuff happened to me. Like, there are predators out there, and that was in the
Yes.
very beginning. Like, I couldn't imagine now how sophisticated everything is. And not only do kids need to learn how to navigate real life relationships, but then they need to learn how to navigate online, which is sometimes even more important.
Yeah.
That just I don't know how I feel like I'm not equipped. I am as a grown-up, but as a kid, like, that's just I don't know that I'm ready to deal with that or try to figure that out with her. I will when it's time, but she's not going to be one of the first. She probably won't be the very last, but we'll hold off as long as possible just because I've seen the ugly of the internet both as a grown-up and a kid.
Yeah.
And I like, we pulled her away from social media now just because of the hate that I get.
Yes.
And I don't know when I'll bring her back, but that's just it's something I'm not ready to I'm not ready yet. Not 8 o'clock is I mean 8 years old is not it.
Okay. Yeah. No.
I just know from experience from like my friend who has daughters and they're a little bit older. I know her daughter's turning 16 and she's had a couple run in with like lying to her mom about things on her phone and having to check her phone. And it's just like, it scares me because people are so untrustworthy and it's hard to teach that to your kids because they haven't dealt with it. And I don't want them to have to learn from experience because that's horrible. Like, I don't want that because I don't want them to experience anything bad with predators or something like that.
No.
Right. But that's the thing that you mentioned. It's you don't want them to lie. I know that there will come a time where it's either she gets a cell phone or she's going to start being deceptive. And I don't want that deception to start happening, right? I don't want her to have secret accounts that she can access on the computer that I don't know about and do all of that. I want her to be honest. So really, for me, I think it's going to be when she can come to me and explain to me why she needs one and it makes sense.
Yeah.
Whatever that is, whether it's because I'm out of town a lot and she's older and she needs to walk home. I don't know what that's going to be, but I feel like it's going to be led by her, and I trust her decision-making process to a degree that she will need to explain. I used to joke that it was whenever she would be able to do a full book report on the privacy settings of all of the social media. And if she understood that, I would let her do it. But I mean, I don't read them. Who reads them? But there needs to be a reason. And the reason is not because all her friends have one. There needs to be a different reason than that.
Yes.
Yeah. It's just scares me. It does. It's a scary thing. So
well,
I don't know when.
If you don't want them to learn by experience, you can just do what my parents did. They just showed me like certain episodes of Criminal Minds and they traumatized me for life. And now like I don't trust anyone on the internet.
That's a good idea.
I mean, that's good. I mean, have you seen the filters? Like, I don't know what anyone looks like.
Yeah.
I found this good one too. I was like, dang.
There's this faux freckle one that is on the TikTok, and I'm like, ooh. It made me buy some false eyelashes. I was like, that looks good. I didn't know how to put them on, but like for real.
Sometimes I see pictures of my friends. I'm like, you don't look like that. Like I know how you look, and that's not it. So yeah, it could be really scary. Okay, this is maybe an awkward question for Kelly, but you don't have to be specific. Just say yes or no. Do you think parents have favorites?
Oh, it's not awkward. Sometimes I feel like it switches back and forth for me. Like,
Okay,
to be honest, like my kids watch this later. Like, I love them both, obviously, but
obviously, yeah.
it's like based on like I know their mood switches a lot. So sometimes I'm like, oh, like I might be more in tune with this kid one day, and then the next day it's the other kid that we're more. It just kind of changes back and forth. I don't think the favorite always stays to one person. I think it kind of switches based on like that day you might have had a really good day with one kid and then a really good day with the next one. So
Yeah, well,
that's how it works for me.
it's just in my case, it was a little different because once my dad did come to my sister's birthday with a cake that said "for my favorite." Like he actually said that,
That's just messed up.
right? Right. And now we're in therapy, but
That's messed up.
but yeah, like he would say, and people would be because I would say like, yeah, my sister's my dad's favorite, and people are like, oh no, like he just gets along with her, but I'm like, no, 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 he said it, like that's his favorite, and I remember like seeing the cake and laughing, but when I tell people that, people are like, okay, that's messed up, so I had to like think about it and be like, okay, yeah, maybe it is messed up to be so upfront about who your favorite is. So, and I also realized that that was maybe the reason why for a really long time I said I only wanted one kid. I was like, I don't want to have them to compete. But then like now I'm in therapy and it's all happy and all that. But yeah, I was just so I do ask parents that like, do you have a favorite? Because I want to see like if it's something that happens or if it was just my dad.
My sister says that I'm my mom's favorite all the time.
Yeah.
And that makes me sad that she says that to me because I think it's just because she doesn't have kids yet. And so
Okay.
my mom is like, this is her first grandkid. So she's probably always trying to hang out with them.
Yes.
I think that kind of like makes her feel a little
Left
different.
out.
Yeah. So that does break my heart though, because I don't want my sister to feel like that. You know?
Totally.
Yeah. That's not a good way to feel with your parents at all.
It sticks with you. I mean, how old are you now, and how long ago did your dad say that, or bring the cake to your sister?
Oh, I'm
And
20.
still you're talking about it?
Yeah, I'm 27, and that probably happened when I was around 10. So yeah, like 17 years old. The
That's real
17
life
years ago.
trauma you experienced as a result. Like
Yeah.
I have one, right? But then I'm a sibling. I don't talk to them. The one that I
Yeah.
liked passed away. The rest
Oh,
they can stay
sorry.
far away from me. But I was my mom's favorite.
Yes.
She made it clear. Yeah. And that's not right. I think it's if you have multiple kids, it's kind of like whenever you're, I don't know, like I'm doing a lot of decolonization work and checking my biases in a lot of ways, that it's kind of like one of those kind of things.
Yes.
Like as a parent, you need to check your biases. You need to be honest. If you legitimately have a favorite kid because you vibe better, it's natural, right? But you need to compensate somehow with the other kids. Don't let anyone know it. Just make sure that you're fair, because that is real life trauma that can be created, right?
It is.
And if you can avoid it, why not? Why not?
Yeah.
Well, that actually brings me to like another question I've had. What's one thing you saw growing up that you were like really adamant, like, I'm not going to do this with my kids?
Honestly, like I don't know if I want to spank.
Okay.
So it's something that I know I grew up with, and a lot of my family, it's like ingrained in our family. That's what we do. But I don't know. I feel like I've kind of grown up to kind of be this people pleaser. That I
Yes.
don't really like that about myself. I
Yeah.
wish a little bit more, assertive about where I stand. And I don't want my kids to like bend over backwards for people. I want them to like say no if they want to say no to me. And I want to be able to accept it and talk to them about things if I'm not happy with it. So spanking is something I don't want to do for my kids. And it's definitely harder because I grew up with that. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
We grew up like that too, and that's something my sister's been really clear about since the beginning. Like, I'm not gonna spank my kids at all, because there are better ways to get them to understand stuff. And I can tell you with my niece, she's almost 4, and she's become this really rational human because my sister explains things to her She's like, you can't do this because this, and this. And if you do it, these are the consequences. And there's no like timeout or anything. She's like, if you don't finish your food, you can't have dessert. Like that's the consequence. And that's that. We're not going to fight. That's it. And my niece understands that if she's done eating and she doesn't want to finish what she put on her plate, she's not going to get dessert. And I love seeing her like become this really intelligent and understanding human, because my sister didn't decide to just lose her temper and spank them. And also my sister is a psychologist, so I think she understands a little bit of this, because she says whenever a parent hits their kid, it's more of a reaction out of like they don't know how to handle it.
Yeah. And that what teaches that kid, like, I don't want my kid to shut down and not be able to speak their mind and like tell people what they want because of fear of being punished that way.
Exactly.
So I that's one thing I'm like, it's hard when you grow up that way to like have it, to like not make that conscious decision not to do it.
Yes.
So it's definitely something I want to do. And even if I hear like my mom say it, or like, you have to like, don't let him do that. Or like sometimes Kai will hit me, or like Cruz will hit me. And I'm like, don't hit me. It hurts, you know? And it's like, yo, you can't let him do that. You can't let him do that. You got to hit him back. And I'm just like, oh, it's just, I can't. He's a baby. He doesn't know. Like,
yeah.
So
Well, I can assure you, like at least from my experience, my niece would do that too, like the little hit, and my sister would be like, "No, don't do that," and they get it.
Yeah,
they get it eventually. So yeah, I don't.
Confusing.
It is.
So it's definitely a lot of mind games.
But I think it goes back to what Matthew said in the beginning about trusting your gut and knowing what works for you and your kid, and that's it. Like, don't listen to anyone else.
Yeah, exactly.
I love that. What about you, Matthew? What's something you said you weren't going to do with your kids?
I mean, how long do you have?
As long as you want. I can edit
honestly,
it.
there are two things that popped up in my head. One was, I wasn't going to be one of those parents that was like, do as I say, not as I do. Whereas I'm going to act a fool, but they don't get to. I really try consciously to model good behavior for her. And I don't want to do anything that I don't want her to do, because she picks up everything.
Yeah.
And then the other thing, like, I think it was like a generational thing whenever I was a kid, but there was always the kids table, and it was always like adults versus kids. I don't be heard or seen or any of whatever that little saying is.
Yes.
And we don't treat her that way. She's an equal participant in the family. She has opinions, and we involve her, and we talk to her like a human and not like a baby. And there are times whenever her opinion, well, it's not that it's not valid, it might not be the appropriate one, and then it's an opportunity for a conversation with her there. It's like, I know that it's a big thing where, don't want to get too much into it, but people are misconstruing talking about race and racism in America with their kids. My kid's 8, and we've been talking to her about it since she was 4. My husband is a person of color, so it was a necessary conversation, but she gets it and she understands it all. And it's like, it's because we just treat her like a human.
Yes.
And we talk to her at wherever she is in her comprehension, and she just gets it. So those are two things that we've implemented that were very different than how I was raised, that are like thumbs up, like, yeah, good job. There are some that was like, but those are 2 good job ones.
I like the whole like not sitting at the kids' table thing. That makes, because I remember that growing up too, like being separated from the adult conversations or not being able to be included in that. So I also think that will give her a really good voice. Like, just, I think that's
Thank
great.
you. Thank you.
Yeah, because, well, now that you say that, I grew up like that too, where there was like the kids' table. And I did have a moment where there was this huge fight in my like extended family dinner. And I remember I said something along the lines of, is this what you wanted it to happen? Like, is this what we come together for? And every single day we're like, oh, shut up, shut up, shut up. And I realized it didn't bother them that I said what I said. It bothered them that I said something. Because I was confronting them like, then what's the point of being together if we're just going to fight? And they were like, they literally turned on me. And I was really scared there. And I was like, okay, I get it. You're not, you don't get angry because I said whatever I said. You're getting rude because I have a voice. I'm trying to make myself heard. And till this day, they still don't like it when I say stuff to them because they are in the old school mentality that if they're your elder, you're supposed to respect them. And I'm like, no, respect is earned. I'm sorry. I don't care about your age. I will respect you just as a human, but I don't have to see eye to eye just because you're my elder.
Doesn't make your points not valid. Yeah.
Exactly. So yeah, I think you guys are doing a great job. I know you don't need my validation. Like, what does this kid know?
It's nice to hear it though.
Oh yes, I do. Go ahead.
But in the words of Kris Jenner, you're doing amazing, Judy. And okay, so my last question is just, what is the best part about being a parent? I know there are many, but if you could just pick one, like, what's the best part of it?
I don't know, I love when I just seeing them happy, like when they're like legit happy, and you see like for the littlest things and like stuff that you would never think to look at, or just an airplane and they're like smiling at it, and it's just like, oh, that stuff is so cool. Like an airplane you see all the time, but like when they see it, it's like this magical thing, and it's really cool to see them see the world through that age and like newness and everything. It makes the world feel different.
Oh, I love it. I love that. Yeah, because you see the world through their eyes again, right?
Yeah, it's definitely made like holidays and stuff way more fun with kids too. So I love that. I do all the holiday stuff for them. It's like before, when it was just me and my husband, it was like, oh, like here, we'll go eat, and that was about it. But now it's like exciting and fun for them. So
that's amazing. What about you, Matthew?
The whole thing, honestly. Like I've been forthcoming in a lot of like media where I've talked, like I was abused my whole childhood. It wasn't a healthy situation. I learned a lot of what not to do.
Yes.
And being gifted with the ability to participate in a healthy relationship with my kid and to see what that looks like and to grow with her, that experiencing it with her has allowed me to heal that little boy inside of me.
I love that.
So it's like this healthy person that I show up for as her has also shown up for myself and the little hurt boy on the inside. That was a part of this whole thing that I didn't know would happen. I didn't know that the power of being a parent could impact my childhood in such a positive way. So it's the whole thing really. It's the biggest gift I've ever been given. It's the honor of my life to be her parent. And I mess up, but I'm doing a lot of things right. And wow, that just feels really awesome. It feels really awesome to see what a healthy environment can do for a kid. And she's the most amazing creature ever created in the history of the universe. And no one's going to argue with me. That's a fact. Okay.
Yeah.
So that's it.
Wow. Wow, I got goosebumps.
Now you're gonna have a kid.
Yeah, like you totally convinced me to have a kid. My mom's gonna be so happy.
You're like, Mom, all that damage you did? I can fix it.
I can fix it. Oh yeah, no, you made me like I got goosebumps just hearing you talk about being a parent. That's amazing. I think that's great. Well, I want to leave on that positive note. So thank you so much for being my first guest on my podcast. Hopefully we can get together again and talk about all other stuff. I have a lot of questions about growing up, so let's regroup in the future. And just if you want to tell everyone where they can follow you, and I'll just put the links there.
You can go first, Matt? I mean,
you go first. You can go first.
I'm Kelly, and you guys can follow me on Bellison Twins and follow me and our family as we go on adventures. And we live in Las Vegas, so there is stuff for kids here.
Yeah. Love it. Okay, and you, Matthew?
I am Mr. Domestic everywhere, and it's spelled out MISTER, domestic. If you do MR, you might find a cat, and I most certainly am a real life human. I'm on TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, Facebook group. And then I have an online sewing school called SewU, SEW-U.com. If anyone wants to learn how to sew and you dig my vibe, then come on and join, and I'd love to teach you.
I need to learn how to separate.
Well,
Got you.
You got the best teacher here. I swear.
I really want to learn, so I'm excited.
Perfect. Well, thanks again, you guys, and I hope to talk to you very, very soon. And have a great rest of your day.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
So there you have it, the first episode of Trust Me, I Know Nothing. Thank you so much to Kelly and Matthew for joining me and for their great advice. And thank you for tuning in. If you think there's another topic I should learn a little bit more about, just let me know and I'll be happy to do an episode on it. So yeah, thank you so much and see you next time. Bye.